Thank you very much, Alois. Yeah, happy to have everyone here to listen to our new releases and upcoming releases of 2025. So yeah, a lot to share today. As in the past webinars, we have a lot of developments ongoing, but also happy to be able to demonstrate some of them today as they were released in the past weeks, some even this weekend. So really new developments which are now able to be used by you as our customers. So yeah, let's dive into them. So first we will focus on the recent releases. So I'll also demonstrate some of them to make sure that you can also see how it works. So first of all, we will start with the zone booking. And zone booking is a feature which we have been developing for the whole year nearly, which is a new way of booking desks and parkings. So in the current situation, our users would be able to book a desk or a parking, and they would have to choose exactly which one they want to use. However, we see with mainly large organizations that they also want to have the possibility that users actually select a spot in an area without selecting upfront which desk or parking they want to use exactly. And then when they actually come into the office, then decide where they want to work or which one's available. So this way of booking is now available in GoBright. So when adding a desk, you can actually choose if you want to set up a regular desk, which we have had previously, or a zone, which then includes a subset of desks, which then can be selected. If a user then books one of those desks in the zone, the capacity just decreases by one until, of course, the capacity is full, and then there are no bookings can be made anymore. So let me briefly go through the list of features first, so that I can then do a demonstration of each of the features, because otherwise we'll be switching between the website portal and then the presentation. So the next feature which has been released for our map feature is the routing. So in our map, you could of course search for resources, for colleagues, to see what is available, where people are working, where you could find a meeting room, for example. However, navigating to those resources or colleagues was something users still had to do on their own. So the routing will now support your users or visitors navigate to the resources more efficiently. So now you can actually preset on the map viewer, which then is also a I am here icon in that sense. But that will also be then the starting point where users will route from to the resource they have selected. So as you can see on the picture, it will draw a line from the starting point, which then is the map viewer, until the resource which is selected. We are now also working on getting this available for the mobile application, so that also users can actually do this routing in the mobile application itself. If, for example, you do not have map viewers in your office, or if users are not actually present at the map viewer currently, but they still need to navigate from their desk, for example, to their booked room. This will, for the mobile app, will actually be released in the probably end of the year, beginning of next year, whereas this routing on the map viewer is already available, so it can already be configured in the map editor as well. Then we have something added to our advanced analytics. So we have the behavior dashboard, which really focuses on the behavior of your users within the office environment. So previously our analytics would focus on the occupancy. So really how much is a space being used, or how much is an area being used, or how much is actually my office being used. So now we're actually going to zoom in more into, okay, who's using those resources, so which departments are working where and when, but also how do people actually book. So do they book via the portal, via the app, via the Outlook environment? How much time in advance do people actually book, and how much time in advance do people book, and how does that correlate to the no-show percentage, for example, so that you can actually start optimizing your office and booking process more based on data than on your gut feeling. So this will make sure that you can actually see which departments, for example, come into the office and then on which locations they are actually working. So perhaps you can start changing areas more based on the behavior of certain departments compared to just making a generic environment for everyone. And besides that, as mentioned, we can also see that if a booking is generically made 1 month in advance, and that will cause for 80% no-shows, that you can also change the Go Bright system to make sure that people cannot book 1 month in advance anymore, because you see that generates a lot of no-shows, which is not efficient for the working environment. So these kind of data will help you create a more efficient office environment. Then we have had some updates to the Interact. So we have the Interact now also can be configured as just a handheld. So we see with some customers that they really like to have the Interact in place, but gradually rolling out into the office environment with the software. But they already have, for example, desks which can be driven up and down, and they need hardware for that to drive that desk up and down. So the Interact can then already be installed into the office environment, but without the software, so that then the booking part is not yet used for that area, but that at least people can already get used to the Interact and drive the desk up and down via that device. So that makes for an easier installation from a hardware perspective, and also gives the flexibility to roll out the software more gradually if needed. Then another feature which we've added is a way to incentivize users to actually check in. So the height adjustability of the desk can be changed via the Interact, as we saw also in the previous slide with the handheld mode. However, currently users are able to do that always, so also if they did not have a booking. So now we've added actually a setting that you can actually limit people to drive the desk up and down only when they have an active booking, which can help users to actually use the system more proactively, because they get benefits from the system itself, compared to just sitting behind the desk at a free desk, which can then cause confusion for other users because they think it's available, but actually someone's working there. So having people check in will not only increase the quality of your data, but also will help users to actually see what's happening in the office, and which desks are actually being used and not, to find the right workspace for them. Then an addition to the Interact is the power control plug. So this is a plug which can be connected to a Interact. And what this plug does is that it limits power to the rest of the devices on the desk, or the devices which are connected to the plug, unless there's an active booking. So what that means is that you can now save power if the desk is not being used. So all the time that there's no booking, all the screens, the docking station, the keyboard and the mouse will actually be turned off until there's actually someone checked in or has a booking. So then the devices will turn on, and after people leave or the booking ends, the power will also turn off again, to actually make for an efficient working environment. So these control plugs can be connected to each Interact, so that you can have this on each workstation. And these power plugs can actually already be returned on the investment within 1 year, as we have calculated here in the office with the 2 dual screens, or at least a dual screen, docking station, keyboard and mouse. So if you have that set up, then this device can already be returned your investment back within a year. So let me now go into the demonstration of the different solutions which I just shared. So here we are in the portal. So as mentioned, we'll start with the zone booking. So from a live perspective, the office on the floor plan doesn't change. So desks are being used or not. You can see who's working at the desk, or if there's no one working at the desk. So that doesn't change. However, if you hover over the desks which we currently have, you can see the desk name specifically. But if we would move to the sales department, you can actually see already that just says sales, which has 8 desks available. So that means that in this scenario, if I click on this desk, I'm actually booking desk GB57. But if I would book in this zone, it doesn't matter which desk I select. I just book one of the 8 desks in this area. And then when I come to the office, I then choose at which 8 of these 8 desks I will work. And then when I check in, the system will then make the specific desk red and will show you where I'm working so that my colleagues can still find me. However, now, before the booking actually starts, I just have one of the 8 desks reserved for me. Also in the search process, this will look a little bit different. So as you can see, it doesn't show you anymore which of the 8 desks is actually booked and which one's available. We just show it as one zone, and this is shows still availability. Until there are no desks available, then it will turn red. Because we do not know which desk actually will be used out of these 8, we do not show specifically which one is occupied and which ones are not. So we just say there's availability in the zone, and then people can still book if they want to. So then moving on to the behavior dashboard. So that's part of our advanced analytics, which is a separate license for the users who are not using it. But this will give you some more detailed analysis based on room, desk, parking, and also a general workspace overview. But there we also include now the behavior dashboard. It's now still a little slow due to the webinar, which is running in the background. But as you can see, we have some more information on the amount of planned bookings, the ad hoc bookings, the in advance bookings, the check-ins, users who are in the office per day, how do people book, so is it a portal app, those kind of things. We have the department density, so which department is a lot in the office on what days. So we really go into much more detailed analytics, which we previously did not. So this one, for example, is the in advance booking analysis, where you can see how much of your bookings are booked in what time frame before actually the booking starts, and what then the percentage of no-shows is compared to those bookings. So this will give you a lot of insights in how people are actually utilizing the office and how they are going to use that. Yeah, so then moving on to the routing. So I will share my other screen. So here we are on a map viewer, and as you can see, this is the same floor plan as we just had in the portal. But here, for example, we have the map viewer here on the right side, where people enter the office area and then they run up to the map viewer itself. So then, for example, I need to go to Barcelona. I want to know what my fastest route to that location is, to that resource. We now have an extra button which shows directions. If I click on it, you can see actually it will start showing me the shortest route. So here's also a map viewer. So in that scenario, you have to actually link each map viewer to the one which is located. So the URL which I've opened now is connected to this icon. So that means that it always knows that my starting point on this specific map viewer is here. So this one is, for example, the screen behind me. So if I would show directions there to Barcelona, it would actually draw it from this icon to that resource, so that it's always accurate for each user. And then another thing is the smart plug. So as you can see here on the background, I have a light behind me. I have the interact here on my screen or my desk. So I will book this desk now for today, and then actually the power plug will turn on. So as you can see, the light will turn on as well. And if I would stop the booking, then the light will turn off as well. So this will happen with all the devices which are then on the screen. So that means that you can really save power. But also, this is also another way to incentivize users to actually use the booking tool, because that will mean that they can use the resources available to them unless they actually check it. So let's move on in the presentation. Then another thing which was released recently is the early presence for meeting rooms. So already had this for desks and for parkings, which was released last year, but now we've added this for meeting rooms as well. So that means that you can preset in the profile of the meeting rooms the setting of the early presence, which means that you can say, okay, 48 hours up till a few hours before the meeting, users can get notified regarding that booking, and that they then have time to actually say if they will be there, yes or no. So that means that you can start getting bookings out of the system already if people already know that they will not be there, so that you can create more efficiency in the working environment, because other people can then actually book those desks in advance, compared to when it's a no-show, you have to actually be present in the office to use that resource at that specific moment. With meeting rooms, we've added 2 additional features. So one is actually that you can now also preset, also for desk and for parkings, that if someone does not respond to this notification, that the booking will not automatically be deleted. So previously for desks and parkings, if you would have this early presence confirmation enabled, the notification would be sent, and then within the time frame of the notification, people could respond to the notification by saying, yes, I will attend, or not. And if they would not respond to this notification, then actually the booking would be deleted automatically. From feedback from customers, they wanted to have this notification in place, but did not want to have the automatic deletion if people did not respond. So we now added a feature that you can actually disable that, so that then the booking still stays, but people still have the opportunity to respond to the notification if they want to. And otherwise, it's just a remembrance of that booking for them. The other feature which we've added is that we know also for meeting rooms, it can happen that people still want to have the meeting online, but do not need the meeting room anymore. So therefore, we added an extra button, which gives the user the option to actually delete the meeting room from the booking, but still keep the meeting in their agenda so that they can have it online, which then helps you as a customer to free space for other people, but it doesn't impact the user's agenda in any way. So that will solve a lot of problems on that scenario as well. Then moving up onto upcoming releases. So the first one is on the integration side. So Microsoft, of course, has now currently EWS as an integration standard, but that will be discontinued in Q4 next year. So Graph API is the new way of working. So that's something which we're now internally testing to make sure that everything works. And then we can gradually roll that out to our customers, to make sure that we can support in the migration from the current way of integrating into Outlook onto the new one. So that is as mentioned now in our internal environment in test, to make sure that that all works fine, so that we can know for sure when we roll it out to you that it works well. Then something which has also been in development for quite a while is the web player for Vue. So as mentioned in our previous webinars, we currently have our digital signage platform, which runs on certified devices like Android devices, LG, Windows players. But there are also customers who, for example, have within the meeting room a room bar or a Cisco ClickShare, for example, who can run also URLs. For example, if the screen is idle and people are not using the meeting room screen, that it can then show a URL. So what we can now do is also implement the digital signage as a web player, which means that you can just plan a URL on, for example, the room bar in your meeting room, which will then show digital signage on the screen if it, for example, is idle. So this will give you much more flexibility in where you want to showcase corporate communication or certain information to your users, besides the actual digital signage screens within the office environment. So you can now have much more flexibility in where you want to plan your content. Then some ongoing developments. So one is also a bigger development, and something which we want to showcase on the ISE in the coming months, is the GoBright AI Assistant. So we want to create a Teams chatbot. We're working on that already to make sure that users can more efficiently book the resources within GoBright, so that they can book desk, parking, rooms via chatting with our bot. So that's the first step. So really making sure that it is a more efficient process, also for the younger generation, something they're more used to than just going into the application and book it there. But on the long run, our vision is also that this assistant can actually support you proactively, so that the user doesn't have to go into GoBright themselves or have to prompt the chatbot themselves, but that the chatbot can actually help the user manage their office week more efficiently based on the behavior we know or the agenda we might know, depending on what is available. But this will then help the users actually manage their week even more efficiently, or even without any proactive actions from their side, so that GoBright can really be the leading role in that. Then an improvement which is requested by a lot of our customers as well is that we currently, of course, have catering in our system. Users have a way to request items. So if they're making a room booking, they can request coffee or whatever is actually preset by you as a customer. However, this is now for a lot of customers a little bit tedious work, because you have to do a lot of clicks when you want to have a lot of items in your booking. So now we're actually working on a flow which helps you to do that much more efficient. So being able to select multiple items within one order to make sure that, which you're also used to, for example, when ordering food online, that is just easy and straightforward on what you want to have, and then save your order as a whole. So also if you want to edit it, then it also is just changing the whole order instead of item by item. So this is something which is in development, so we actually hope to release this in the beginning of January as well as an improvement. Then a new feature which we are going to add on top of our week planner is the amount of days in the office. So we see with a lot of our customers that they still work in a flexible way, so meaning people can work from home but also in the office. However, you see with a lot of organizations that they do have more regulations around this, or they do more they have more details in with their users or with their employees on how much people can go to the office and how much they can work from home. So now we actually want to visualize those details as well within the week planner, so that customers can preset for each department how many days in the office they need to be in the week. And then they can actually show the progress for each user, how far they are for each week in coming to the office compared to working from home. So that as a team manager, you can actually start having conversation based on data with your team members if they're actually reaching the target which is communicated to them. Then something which is not really a feature for each user, but it's something which is very important as a solution such as GoBright, is to be able to be accessible for every user within the office environment. So that also means people who have a certain disability. So that is also the WCHG standard. That is a standard which has regulations where you need to comply to be able to say that you are a software solution which can be used by people who, for example, have eyesight disability or always need to work with a keyboard instead of a mouse. So that's something which we've been working on quite extensively. We did an audit in October, and from that audit, it already came to the conclusion that people with a disability can use the GoBright system as a normal user would. We're just now in the works to finalize the final details and have a final audit in February to make sure that we are really compliant with all the regulations from the 2.2 standard. Then a external integration which we're working on is the sensoring. So we of course have sensoring in our system already via certain ways. So we can have external sensors which we have battery powered. We have with our Connect a sensor which can be connected via cable. In our Interact we also have a vibration sensor which can measure occupancy. However, we also see with a lot of organizations they already have certain infrastructure, and some large vendors for that are BGrid, PointGrab, and Cisco. So we're now integrating those parties into our system, so you as customers can actually use that sensor data from those systems also in combination with GoBright. So that means that automatic check-in can work, that the occupancy measuring can work, that the auto release can work in combination with these devices. These devices can also go a little bit further, so they also have other measurement points. So they also have people counting, they also have temperature, air quality, those kind of things. So later next year, we also want to include those data points into our system to even give more value to the users, to see what meeting rooms are actually perfect to use now, how many people are actually in the room compared to what was invited, to really optimize even more for you as a customer to make sure people are using the right meeting rooms when they want to. Then another hardware integration is BrightSign. So we are now working to make these compatible for our digital signage platform. So this is a well-known brand in the digital signage market. So that means that also, within the next months, this is certified, so that can then also be used as a player for the digital signage. And we're also going to test with BrightSign to be able to support IPTV, to make sure that that's also something which can be offered to customers, to make sure that that requirement can be implemented with GoBright. And then the last integration, which is a more extensive one, is into the Cisco environment. So Cisco has some hardware devices which can be used by us to have a full experience. So Cisco offers a room bar. The room bar offers, of course, sensors, which that data we want to get out to make sure that that can be utilized into GoBright. But the room bar also supports the option to show digital signage on the screen it's connected to. So that's something which via the web player can also be supported. But we will actually be working on a more sophisticated integration for the room bar to make sure that also the installation from the IT perspective can be more efficient. Then the room navigator from Cisco will also be integrated for our room booking solution, so that you can put the screen outside of the meeting room, so people can book, can see via the screen, of course, if it's available or not. And indeed, next year we also want to extend that by, for example, providing more information like how many people are in the meeting room actually, or what's the temperature, or what's the air quality like, to even give more information to the user when using GoBright. And then two things which are still under investigation is also being able to add the WebEx link with room booking. So now, of course, we have the option to add the Teams link when you have GoBright in use, but we are going to investigate if we can also add the WebEx link there. And another system which Cisco offers is Cisco Spaces. So there's also still under investigation if we can provide some value there in combination with Cisco Spaces, so that that can be an even more extended experience when people are using that. So from a feature perspective, that was everything what I wanted to share today. So a lot has been released in the past weeks, but also a lot is still coming up. So the next webinar will be in March, where we will actually be focusing on the things which I've mentioned now, but also things which are not mentioned yet. And feel free to visit us at the ISE in February, because we will be showcasing a lot of these things which I've already shown you, but also new things which were still in development will be displayed there as well. So feel free to join us there and to see actually everything live working there. There are perhaps some questions, so Alois will join again to make sure that he can read the questions. I will answer them if needed.
Thank you, Willem, for your presentation. It was very informative. We have a couple of questions, and one of the questions is routing also available on older versions of Map Viewer?
That's a good question. So the routing will actually be available for the Map Viewer V2. So we have, of course, two versions for the Map Viewer. So currently this will only be rolled out for the Map Viewer V2.
And another question is there any development or any plans for development for analytics on the narrowcasting?
It would be good then to get more details in what kind of analytics you would want to see on the digital signage. So then we can start looking into if we can add this for analytics. So if you could share those details, what you would want to see from an analytics perspective for digital signage, then we're happy to investigate if we are able to put that on the roadmap at one point. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for that. So please, any more questions afterwards or more follow-up information, you can always email marketing@gobright.com, and we'll get back to you. Another question we have is, if the power plug is connected to the Interact, and if a meeting extends the meeting time, will the power then be disconnected completely right away?
Yeah, so currently that is indeed the case, but we are going to work on the option that you can have like a overtime, so that you can preset as a customer how much time people get after the booking ends until the power actually cuts off. But currently, indeed, if the booking ends, then the power will just turn off. But if you extend the booking, or if you just make a new booking, then of course the power will turn on directly again. But that's of course not the best way to have a experience. So we will add the option to have a preset time, how long after the booking it will still turn on. But of course, if that time then runs out, then it will then turn off again as well. So then indeed you will need to extend it or book it again as well. Yeah.
Okay. Those are all the questions we will be answering right now. The rest of the questions we will answer in the follow-up email. Thank you all for watching, and I wish you all a very bright day.
Thank you very much. Bye.